is Koichi Nakano of Japan, on his way to winning his 6th consecutive world title in the professional sprint, as he begins this first ride in the final here at Leicester against Gordon Singleton of Canada. And Singleton, who started on the inside and who leads off on the first of the 3 laps. Singleton, already winner of the gold medal in the Keirin, could become the only double gold medalist of these World Championships. Two laps left then in this first ride for the gold medal in the professional sprint. And still it's Koichi Nakano of Japan, the defending champion, indeed the champion for the last 5 years, who's tucked in at the back behind Gordon Singleton of Canada. There's the big, powerful Japanese rider. This is certain to be a test of strength and a test of courage too. Who has the sharpest elbows? Well, that might need to be proved when they finally come round the last bend and head for the line. Singleton has proved a really aggressive and gritty competitor. This time round in front of the main grandstand, they'll get the bell for the last lap. Singleton, where he's been from the start, at the front. Nakano tucked at the back, believing that he's got the power and the strength to come round. Singleton watches him and lifts him up. He's holding him here, is Singleton. He's not allowing Nakano to get in front of him and take his ground. But, oh! A touch of wheels and a terrible crash. And I think you'd have to say that was the fault of Nakano, because he got in front of Gary Singleton and seemed to look back to see where Singleton was. The bike moved. He was the man in front. Both men dumped on the floor. Seemed to be all right. Nakano's on his feet. Singleton has crashed into one of the positions there, but it is covered with protective foam rubber. He hasn't yet got to his feet, but he's taking his helmet off and seems to be okay. Crowd around Gary Singleton of Canada, Gordon Singleton rather, but he's getting to his feet, shakes his head, and seems the least injured of the two. And they're almost side by side as they come off that final bend and in front of the grandstand. Nakano looking back over the wrong shoulder, thinking that Singleton was coming around the outside, then sees him on the inside, and that's when they crash. And I think you'd have to say that was Nakano's fault, because he was so busy looking to try and find where Singleton was, he momentarily lost concentration and the bikes came into contact. The crowd applauding the announcement that Gordon Singleton of Canada has been given that first ride against Nakano of Japan. So the judges here, presumably of the same opinion as we in the commentary box, that it was the Japanese defending world champion who was guilty of that crash. The Japanese officials, with the commissaire there, Jean-Jacques Baudin, looking at the rerun of that incident, and I wonder if they will lodge a protest against the decision that has given Singleton the first ride. Well, Gordon Singleton doesn't look too disappointed for a man who's just heard the announcement that the judges have overruled and decided that he doesn't get the first ride after all, despite the crash, which looked as though it was Nakano's fault. They've now said it will have to be a rerun. Well, how much more drama is there yet to come in this final of the professional sprint, because this is the rerun and there's no love lost between these two, Singleton and Nakano. Singleton certainly feeling badly done by after that first ride, when he was brought down by Nakano. At first was given the ride, and then the judges, the jury of appeal, overruled that and decided they would have to rerun that first heat. If the elbows get going again here, the medical centre at Leicester might run out of plasters and bandages. Singleton at the front, and Nakano of Japan, the world champion for the last 5 years. tucked in behind. A good job it is that Nakano doesn't wear his spectacles when he's riding, because it was his head that hit the deck in that crash, and which came off worst. Nobody should be in any doubt here, Hugh Porter, that these guys mean it, and this is very serious and tough business.
You certainly need to be courageous to ride in these professional sprint races. They're like gladiators out there. And remember when they met last year, it was Nakano who won 2-0, and I don't think that Singleton's very happy about that, and he certainly wants to square the deal.
Koichi Nakano of Japan, 5 times the world's sprint champion, leading as they take the bell, and 1 lap remains. Gordon Singleton of Canada stays with him. This the rerun after the crash which ended the first. Singleton goes on the inside. He hooks up Nakano and gives himself a lot of breathing space, a lot of ground. Listen to the crowd cheering Singleton on. I think he's the popular figure. They want to see him win this. Nakano's coming back at him, but he won't get on terms. Singleton wins it, and the crowd feel that justice has been done. A packed crowd at Leicester, more than 5,000 people filling the Saffron Lane Stadium this afternoon to see the finals in this World Championship. And Singleton's the popular figure. Already 1 gold medal from the Keirin, and could he become the only double gold medalist of the championship? He needs 1 more win to take it in the sprint. Is Koichi Nakano of Japan about to see the world professional sprint crown snatched from his head. 1 down to Gordon Singleton of Canada in this so eventful final. We've had both men on the floor and carrying the scars of battle. And Singleton, winning the rerun of the first heat, needs just 1 more victory to win the title, and his 2nd gold medal of this World Championships. Already the Keirin champion. A man who won't give ground. A real determined, gritty competitor.
A lot of work for Nakano to do here if he's going to make it 1-1 and push it to a decider. And the pride of Gordon Singleton, he's certainly not going to allow that if he can help it. And in the last ride, he certainly rode it very, very well indeed. He caught Nakano napping, went from the inside and got the gap, and then it was Singleton all the way.
Singleton tucked in at the back. Difficult to read the expression on the face of this Canadian. He'll have thought this ride through in his mind while he's been sitting in the middle there waiting. He'll have planned his campaign. So too will Nakano. Still Nakano glancing over his right shoulder to check on the position of Singleton. A nervous expression perhaps on the face of Nakano. That's the bell for the last lap. Is Nakano going to force it to a 3rd decisive ride, or is Singleton going to collect his 2nd gold medal? He comes off the banking and gets in front. Hooks Nakano back up into the boards. And now they hit the 200-meter mark. Singleton in front, Nakano tucked in behind. And Nakano turns on the power, comes round the wide outside. Oh, and he's gone again as Singleton, and another terrible crash. These two can't produce a race that doesn't end in drama and spectacular spills. Look at the damage, and the boos are for Nakano, because I think the Leicester crowd felt that he was at fault in the first crash, and maybe they feel he was at fault again. You can't apportion blame, but Gordon Singleton, his body must be pained all over. There must be bruises on every inch of his body. Sucking in great gulps of air. He came down hard on his shoulder, and he's feeling pain there, and let's hope there's no damage that's too serious to prevent these two getting back on their bikes. Well, we'll watch this carefully, Hugh Porter. It's difficult to apportion blame in a circumstance like this, but both men have got their heads down. They're both working hard. The legs are going, the drama's there, they're looking for the line as they come off this finishing bend. But Singleton is certainly in front. Nakano's putting in a great burst of effort to try and get on terms. And who causes that collision? The elbows were going. They definitely came into contact. Singleton came off worst. And head over heels, the cameramen having to scurry to get out of the way. Otherwise, they'd have been bowled over. That's the moment of contact. Singleton's elbows are out, certain of that, but so too are Nakano's. And I think the judges here at Leicester would have a great difficulty apportioning blame. Poor Gordon Singleton of Canada, listening to the announcement over the tannoy that Nakano of Japan has been given the decision in that second ride, so it stands at 1 victory each in the final of the sprint, but Singleton can't come out to ride for the third time, and so Nakano will get the decision and win the title. What a disappointment for Singleton. His arm in a sling, we think it's a broken collarbone, an old injury from years gone by that's gone again. And what a bitter way to finish this marvellous professional sprint final. Koichi Nakano of Japan obliged to go through the formality of appearing at the start line for what would have been the third decisive ride in the professional sprint. But with Gordon Singleton, a sad figure in the middle of the track, unable to ride because of the injury to his right shoulder, Nakano wins his 6th world title by the default of the Canadian.
Gordon, you clearly have everybody's sympathy, but that's a bit empty, isn't it?
Yes, that's, you know, it's not the same as, you know, going over the line first.
So what are your feelings?
Well, I don't, you know, I don't know what to really say. It all happened so quickly, but in the first ride, they just gave a re-ride, you know. He definitely came down on me, you know, and knocked me off. And then the second ride, he just, you know, he stuck his elbow underneath my shoulder and lifted me and knocked me over again. What can I say?
What about your own personal feelings?
As far as I'm concerned, if he wants it, he can have it, you know. It doesn't, I did my best, and that's all I can do.
Is it any consolation knowing that you are the man of the championships with 1 gold and 1 silver?
I suppose I might think about that in the future. Right at the moment I'm a little disappointed.
Gordon, as I said at the start, you have everybody's sympathy.
Thank you.